All right, welcome back. Good morning, Nigeria. We're on the last leg. Last topic, of course, has to do with anti-corruption in the transportation subsector. The Federal Ministry of Transportation and its agencies are in collaboration with the EFCC to organize a one-day summit on zero tolerance for corruption in the transportation sector. Right here with us in the studios, we'd like to welcome Mrs. Margaret Onyema Orakuse, a maritime lawyer and also a board member of the Nigerian Shippers Council, and of course a member of the organizing committee of the summit. Mrs. Orakuse, pleasure to have you with us on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Also here with us in the studios is Mr. Agu Kajetan Chukwemeka, who is Director, Consumer Affairs of the Nigerian Shippers Council. Pleasure to have you with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
And last but not the least is Latuna Kabir, Assistant Director of the EFCC, that's the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Good morning, sir.
All right, good morning.
Okay. Gentlemen and lady, it's good to have you this morning. And I would like to start with the lady among us, Margaret Onyema Orakuse. You know, corruption can be described in so many ways. And of course, the practice is also witnessed in so many aspects of our human life, in all strata of life, and in organizations, in bodies, and what have you. So what nature of corruption are we looking at here, and why the interest of the transportation subsector to start this in the first place?
Thank you very much. Little or nothing is actually known about the maritime sector and transportation, but it cuts across a lot of commercial activities. And that's why we decided, because a lot of activities go on, we have a lot of potentials to grow. We need to attract investors, and we also have this issue of corruption. So we want a good playing ground for investors to come in. When you talk about the maritime sector, you talk about activities in the ports, you talk about activities out there in the sea, you talk about the huge volume of exports we do and imports. And then you begin to look at it. Are we benefiting from freight? Are our banks involved in the manner in which they are supposed to be involved? The cargo dwell time, why our cargoes being diverted to neighboring countries? Is there efficiency? So these are the things that we identify and then find out why these things are not happening. And chief amongst it is corruption, because maritime is an international business, so it must have that standard, international standard. It's highly competitive also. So to attract the investors and again to enhance performance of what we have now, we have to remove this monster called corruption.
All right, thank you very much. Agu Kajetan, tell us, how, again, as my colleague Kirian asked, how does corruption manifest itself in the value chain of the, say, maritime subsector of the economy?
You are aware that...
I'm not aware, just tell us.
Transportation generally is the driver of the economy. Transportation is the pivot, on top which the economy revolves. In fact, transportation drives the global trade. So whatever affects transportation affects the economy. And as my colleague mentioned, when you look at the maritime sector, you discover that there's a lot of areas that are prone to corruption. I will start with vessel reception at the port. There has been an international outcry, against the way and manners, that the vessels are received at the port. These are the areas we need to beam searchlight. Then again, in the value chain, the issue of cargo examination. What happens at the point of cargo examination? This is another area. Equally, if you look at the gridlock, presently at the Lagos port, you will discover that the gridlock is a manifestation of indiscipline and corruption. So these are the areas that we equally need to beam our searchlight. And we are equally aware that this present government is hell-bent to curb corruption. The present government is hell-bent, to tackle corruption frontally. So the summit we are organizing, by the Federal Ministry of Transportation and its agencies and the FCC, it is our own support to the federal government to ensure that we tackle the issue of corruption within the transportation sector, more especially the maritime sector, where we belong. Generally, our port, though there is a lot of innovation now to improve port activities, the present government has done much, but we need to do more, and the only way we can do more is ensuring that we eliminate corruption and imbibe best practices.
All right, we have just been exposed to the kind of activities that take place in the maritime sector, which for me, to me, I never came to realize, apart from what you have just told us. Let me come to the Kabir Latuna here. What kind of cases, have you been experiencing? What kind of corrupt practices, has the EFCC been able to detect along the line of value chain activities in the maritime sector? What has been your experience?
Okay, thank you very much. What a lot of people don't appreciate is that synergy between the EFCC and operators within the maritime sector did not start now. Over the years, we've had relationship with the Nigerian Customs Service, which is a vital component of the maritime sector. Sometime in the past, there was a joint operation on a port that led to substantial recovery of revenue to the federal government by importers that used to evade duties that were supposed to be paid. That was a joint operation between the Nigerian Customs Service and the FCC. Secondly, we have an ongoing operation with the Nigerian Navy, which is in charge of policing the nation's seas and is a vital component of the maritime sector. Some vessels that are engaged in illegal bunkering, dealing in petroleum without license, these are veritable areas where the country loses a substantial amount of revenue. Once the Navy arrests them, investigation and prosecution is done by the AFCC. And I can tell you that over the years, we have done a number of prosecutions, MV Asteris, and a number of other cases. And some of these vessels now, they are currently at the level where government is about to auction them for sale.
So why are you escalating collaboration with agencies in the Ministry of Transportation to a summit?
Okay, good question. When my colleague, who is from the Shippers Council, was talking, she talked about the importance of that particular sector to the economy. Now you are talking about the Commission, which is the coordinating agency for investigation and enforcement of economic and financial crime. Obviously, there has to be a synergy between their own body and our own body for the good of the nation. She has highlighted the issue of corruption as a major inhibiting factor to the operations of the port and the economy of the nation. So there is no better time than us and then coming together, particularly at the administration we have now, where corruption is a front burner.
Okay, Margaret, as we're about to round off now, let us know some of the most important areas of focus by this summit, that the ones that you want to address frontally for now, and what should be the takeaway being expected from this summit? What are those such takeaways will, efficiently and effectively, advance your cause in fighting corruption in the maritime subsector?
Yeah, a lot of improvement at the ports, no doubt about that, but we still need to do more. We need to do away with interfacing. We need to do away with human activities at the port. We need to introduce the technologies, automation, scanners, anything to do, because there are so many agencies that monitor the activities in the maritime sector. You can imagine when an importer's goods land and it has to go through about 26 or more agencies. Time is being wasted. A lot of resources go into, because maritime is time effective. That's the difference between a good importing or a maritime nation and us. You know, like our neighbors. I mean, they have improved so much. Their dwell time is about a matter of days. You can be in your office and just with technology conduct all your maritime businesses. Okay. That's where we are heading to do away with human
all right.
activities.
Again, as today is a fairly crowded day for us, but you didn't tell us who the participants at the summit most likely will be.
Okay, fine.
Very quickly.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
We have a very seasoned stakeholder in the industry, experienced. He's going to give us the lead paper. Then, of course, we have the security agencies. We have all the agencies in the maritime sector, Shippers Council, NIMASA, NPA, Ministry of Transportation, a whole lot of important people.
All right. On that note, we'd like to thank you, Mrs. Margaret Onyema Orakusi, maritime lawyer, and a member of the board of Shippers Council, as well as the committee organizing the one-day summit on anti-corruption in the transportation sector. Thank you for being with us on Good Morning Nigeria today.
Thank you for having us.
We also would like to appreciate Mr. Agu Kajeta Chukwuemeka, who is a director in the Shippers Council, is in charge of consumer affairs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being around.
Thank you very much.
And last but not the least, from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, is an assistant director, Latuna Kabiri. Thanks a lot for being with us.
It reminded me of those days, some of our friends who lived in Lagos, whenever they return to the East, they tell you, look, I'm into clearing and forwarding.